What is going on to Ryan and Brian Talk Sports plus Nick Larson? I guess I'm doing the intro again. As always, we appreciate pick
Yes.
points and sleeper picks. How are you guys doing?
Dude, vibes are high. Go Phils, man. I'm very excited. Basically, as soon as this show goes off, we go downstairs and hopefully watch the Phillies win game 2.
Oh,
Big
yeah.
big night for you guys. My Brewers
How are they doing?
out of there real quick. So
Yeah, I was gonna say is Nick asked before the show our confidence level. I think it's a sign of weakness to be confident as a fan for anything at all and all things. But there is I don't want to say confidence, but there is a little bit more looseness in my demeanor, knowing that they took one already in Atlanta. But watching this team, I feel like they don't want to split. I feel like they definitely want to take two and have no prisoners there in Atlanta. So we'll see. Zach Wheeler on the mound's big to get that win without having to use him yet.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I feel pretty good. There's something about this Phillies team. Now I like last year's team a lot, obviously. But there's something about this team that kind of reminds me of like the Eagles Super Bowl team from a few years ago, where it's just like the chemistry and like inside the building is so special that it kind of like works this way and spills over onto the field. It feels like, and I don't know. I hope I'm not jinxing them, but this team feels very special to me. So I really hope they can get this series done. And I mean, this is easily, and I'm sure most people would agree, this is my biggest fear. I mean, I'll take on anyone if we could beat the Braves. So we'll
hey,
see.
nobody'd rather have on
Nobody'd rather have is off the charts. Hey, we won game 1. I'm feeling good. I feel like our worst case scenario tonight is still not that bad. We took one in Atlanta, so I'm feeling pretty good. We have our ace on the mound. So
Ranger Suarez is pitching.
Yeah, Ranger Suarez, man, and the ace of the entire playoffs.
He might be.
He looked great. I do think that the bullpen came in. It's nice because I know there is a lot of love for Zach Wheeler over 15.5 outs tonight. I want to play that so bad, but I think a lot of people are taking too much stock in the bullpen usage because there is that extra day off that you usually don't get in these series. But we'll break that down afterwards because we do have NFL first. It's on the ticker. Tone Stamps gets really mad if we do not follow the ticker. He gets furious. I just want to. Yeah, he does. I want to acknowledge the chat. I'm going to have a nice laugh. I think it's hilarious that someone's already chatting why I'm on all these shows, which is so funny because if I didn't have to do these shows, I wouldn't do them. I would just enjoy my time. I don't want to be talking in front of other people at times.
What the hell?
No, it's just really funny that it is a show with it's like the one show I have that's been going over for a year. Ryan and Brian talk sports, and then we start the show. Why the fuck is Brian here?
Somebody asked, "Do 2 people run Brian versus the books?" Interesting question. I feel like
no,
they're on you.
It's just me. I know JD has like 7 people that runs his Twitter account. I don't have that luxury. I have to do it all myself, which is why there's a lot of spelling errors, and it kind of looks like a 2-year-old who runs the account. It's what I do best. And it's funny because people are like, "Oh, it's like his humor. He just makes these little stupid errors and jokes, and like he has bad graphics." But people don't realize it's me trying my absolute best. But we'll move on. Thank you. We'll move on to NFL. This is actually Ryan Props over there. He texted me this morning or this afternoon saying he actually thinks this could be a good game, which is dangerous because I say that about every primetime game, and it never really pans out. This is a pick'em, but then again, you had to pick 'em yesterday with the Saints and the Patriots, and that was less of a pick'em than it was showing on the spread. So today we have 2.5 point spread. I'm guessing we're doing a lot more player props because I don't know if I trust a side here. I think these are pretty equal teams in terms of how they're playing to start the year.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a side personally. I would if I had to. I'd go Packers money line actually, but I don't have a side. I almost never really bet sides in NFL. It's just not my scene. It's not my play. I like college spreads, but I don't really like NFL totals, spreads, and money line action for some odd reason. I just don't think I'd be that good at it. So don't go and bet the Packers just because I said bet the Packers, I guess.
Yeah, I think Will Hill and some of the guys on the noon show also like the Packers. I think I'd probably lean Packers, but I think it'd be a closer game.
Yeah, we're still waiting on a lot of news. We're still waiting on Jair Alexander, unless this has come out and I haven't seen it, which will be huge for Devontae Adams and Myers and everybody. And then we got the news that Aaron Jones is out, so we got to watch more 2-yard A.J. Dillon runs, which makes me not want to like the Packers. But I don't know. I still think this will be a pretty fun game. I think these defenses are kind of bad enough that we should see some points. We should see some touchdowns. So let's make some money.
Do you have any thoughts, Nick, before we get into actual bets and props?
No sides from me. I'm with Brian on this. I just stay away from that in NFL, and like he said, a lot easier in college to do that. But yeah, I got a couple prop looks for.
So because we don't ever pre-plan this show and make it flow well, how many props do you guys have for Monday Night Football? I have one. Oh, I have two. I guess I have two. So Ryan, we'll kick off. What was that?
I have one and then just a long shot throw in. So
okay, yeah. So I kind of have the same. So we'll let Ryan go first, and then we'll kind of go round robin back to Ryan and make it work out. So Ryan, what is your ultra lock like best play can't miss of the day?
Oh, the 15-unit goat whale. No, those don't. You won't find those for me. I am, however, I am going to ladder Jacoby Myers receptions though. So I personally have kind of struggled because NBA ladders are a little easier because I just do 3 rungs. I could break it down a little easier. Receptions have kind of tripped me up on the best way to bet them. Personally, I risked 1.3 units total, and I played 5 through 9 basically. So there's 5 different options. I'm spread pretty thin on 8 and 9. I have 0.1 on each. So these aren't big bets. The majority of it, of course, I put 0.75 on the over 4.5, and then I just put like 0.25 and then 0.2 and then 0.1. Comes out to about 1.3. The reason I'm kind of being so loose with this is because do what feels right to you, because I'm still a little stumped on my favorite way to kind of break down the units. Anyway, we'll get into the play. Jacoby's coming off kind of a mediocre game last week. He only had 4 targets, 2 catches, but that was rookie Aiden O'Connell under center. Today we get back Jimmy G. So that's pretty much the primary reason I really like this play. The connection with these two goes back to Patriots days where they played together under Josh McDaniels, their current coach. So, beyond this 2-game sample size that we have, we can also look back at, all the practices that they had together all of those years back in New England as well. So, but we also have a terrific 2-game sample size when they've played together. The 2 games that they played, Jacoby had 7 receptions on 12 targets, 85 yards. And then they had 10 targets, 9 catches for 81 yards. So 22 targets out of 70 Jimmy passes, which is a 31% target share, which is massive. So I really like the potential for his receptions here. He got 12 looks in one of the games that Devontae had 20. So it was really hard to lay off Devontae Adams props. I definitely understand the appeal. I'm assuming we'll get to him later in the pick your popular plays section. I really like it. I think it's hard to kind of lay off his props, but with him, with his shoulder being injured, I kind of have like a little tinfoil hat after watching the way that the Falcons played Calvin Ridley the other day. Like, they were not going to let Calvin Ridley get his. Not that Ridley's on Adams' level. Adams can. I don't really think there's much you can do against Adams, but I mean, I'd imagine they spent quite a bit of time this week trying to find a way to slow this man down. And somebody mentioned that Jair is expected to play, so I would imagine he'll get on Adams a lot of the time, which makes me like Jacoby Myers matchup even more. So I think he's really good. He's really good at getting open. Jimmy G seems to be very comfortable throwing it his way.
Is that Jimmy Graham?
Target share.
Jimmy Graham. Who's Jimmy G? People, you have to specify for what you're talking about here.
Yeah, but I don't say names well, so I just stick with G instead of saying Garoppolo, just in case I stumble over it. But despite his stinker last week, he was on the field for 96% of the snaps. So we have no playing time concerns. 31% target share with Jimmy G under center was enough for me to bite here. Let's see if we can climb the ladder.
I like that. I actually was battling with Myers or fading Devontae Adams, but then I realized that if I took an under 80.5 for Adams, people might just come to my house and burn it down because I know he's going to be very popular today. He's going to get his. I feel like he does seem like the kind of person that gets fired up for this kind of matchup, but how healthy do you think he really is? Plus, you mentioned Alexander. It's really tough to say. I think it's tough to say either way, which is why I'm not betting either side of it. I just feel like it's one of those things where if you want to fade him, we want to bet him over. I feel like you can easily justify either one. I just hate trying to bet on guys with injuries concerns.
Funny you should say that because my play is Devontae Adams.
Did you ladder him up? I figured
Reception
you would.
ladder.
Well, the reception I like better than yards. Can I put that out there? That
Yeah.
I
Nope.
think receptions should be out there because he might get targeted 48 times. But don't be surprised if he has 8 catches, say 73 yards today. That's my
I took his 7 through 10.
Nice.
I think Barstool was minus 105 for 7, and then I took the rest on FanDuel. Little worry with the being banged up, but then, like you said, he seems to always go nuts on these primetime games. Playing the Packers, his former team, a little extra motivation, and then, like Ryan said, he recently had that 20 target game followed by 13 target, 8 catch game. So I think if he's out there, they're gonna feed him. Jair's good, but I mean, like you said, it's hard to stop Adams. Like if they want to get him the ball, they can get him the ball. So I'll take a chance on him. Usually you don't get him at 6.5 for receptions to start, at least playable to start with. So I'm gonna run that tonight.
He said it last week too. He nutted up, right? I mean, he nutted up to be out there. You don't think he can nut up against his old team? I think he will. I don't think he'd be out there if he wasn't super determined to be out there against the Packers.
Right.
Yeah.
I think this is a fun time to talk about a play I was so ready to play because you guys are both on these big name receivers.
Am I right?
Oh, I wore my Goddard jersey. He's so back, guys. It's a wonderful time to be alive for Dallas Goddard fans. He looked finally. Me and Ryan even talked about it Saturday, just about how crazy it is that he's just not involved in that offense. And that first drive was like four catches, 43 yards, and a touchdown. I was like,
hey, I thought about it
Brian was feeling
as soon as I
good,
saw
man.
that.
It's just like, why? It's a whole other thing. It's like, why not get him involved? But anyway, everyone was talking about like wide receivers today. Jacoby Myers, maybe Christian Watson, this and that. I like to play so much, and then it moved on me, so I couldn't play it. But the guys no one talking about is is it Javon? Was it how do you pronounce it? Is Dontavius Wicks? I was so ready to play his over 4.5 receiving yards today, and it and it moved. It moved to 7.5. I have a whole write up about it. And it's really frustrating. But it's just one of those things where you talk about those low volume lines. The fact it moved 3 yards, I couldn't play it. So I actually played my second favorite play of this game for the show, which was Jordan Love. I split the 2 plays, half a unit on over 8.5 longest run and over 15.5 rushing yards. So the reason I bring up a guy like Wicks and talk about Jordan Love is the 2 games that Aaron Jones was missing. They need someone out there to just make something happen. And you mentioned how AJ Dillon has just, running a cloud of dust, 2 yards a carry, really just not looking good at all this year or last year. So these are just 2 guys I think have the best chances to do that. Jordan Love in the 2 games without Aaron Jones has 2 runs of 20 plus yards. The Raiders play 29 to 30% of their defense in man looks, and they play a lot of 1 high or 2 high safety looks. So if you follow quarterback rushing totals like I do, because I love to play them, seeing man to man and teams that play 2 back or 1 back high safety looks are just like the funnest to bet against, because if he goes through his progressions 1, 2, not there, he has the wheels to do it. I mean, we saw it the last 2 weeks. Even last week when he had negative 2 yards, if you remember, it was not as bad as it looked because I counted that 1 screen pass as a rush for him. Do you remember that? They had a screen pass that was behind the line of scrimmage. It was a drop pass.
I took his over rushing at halftime and thought it hit for about 2 hours before I realized that was a negative 13-yard play or whatever it was. So, I remember well.
Yeah, so that's kind of why I split this. He actually has a 9-yard or higher run in every single game. So I split the 8.5 and the 15.5. We kind of mentioned before, he's hit it in all 4 games. He has the wheels, and when you have AJ Dillon giving you 3 yards a carry against a team that actually has been really good against the pass. So I think if he needs to, whether it's a Zion run or scrambles, I think Jordan Love will have the opportunity to get 16 or more rushing yards. Even if they do end up winning the game and you get a kneel or 2, I think I have him projected at 19.9. So if he gets around that 20 yards rushing, I don't really care about kneels because, unless he Patrick Mahomes it and loses 6 yards, I think he'll get the 16 plus.
Like it a lot. That's one that I've been on the fence about a lot. And Dre over in our YouTube chats, talking my language, he actually just listed off probably my 2 favorite touchdown guys. If we're not talking about Devontae, of course, Jordan Love and Jacoby Myers have both been on my mind all day for touchdowns. So I like that a lot. And I also like his over rushing yards too. I very well may add that, and your talk up there makes me even more eager. So
I'll say this last primetime game, I think everyone in the world was on Jordan Love rushing yards, and it moved from 14. It moved from 15 and a half to like 19 and a half. This week, no one's on it. Like no one's talking about it. I mean, he had 9 last week. It's not like he had the -2 that like it kind of makes it seem. I think that people are kind of not thinking about it as much as I did, but I like the spot, and I really think that without Jones, they have the time to plan and make something happen, whether it's a design run or like I don't know. I just don't trust this team. Last 2 weeks, I think Herbert had a 15-yard run and Kenny Pickett had a 9-yard run. So there's definitely that seam with the weak linebacking core.
Nice. Yeah, I like that a lot. And then Nick, did you have a second play for this one?
Yeah, I'll give you my long shot. So
yeah, that's right.
Jaden Reed under 2.5 receptions paired with over 60 yards. I know these are Brian's favorite. Plus 5,800, and then if you want to take under 2.5 and 70 yards is plus 10,000. In 3 of the 4 games, he has a catch of at least 30 plus yards, so he is their deep threat. Just hoping that he hits one deep one and then maybe another catch. So it's obviously a dart throw long shot, but he is one of the leaders in average reception length. So just throwing it out there, fun to play.
Yeah, I mean, those odds are absurd. It pretty much one bomb away from doing that, and then kind of hope they look the other way, which is
right,
quite damn possible. So, dude, I like those. I've been tailing a lot of those. I think they're fun. Really, I mean, if you hit friggin' 5 out of 50, you're gonna make a lot of money. So,
right, exactly.
If you're tailing and like if you haven't had success with it, hang with it for a little bit. I think one hit will take you a long way. And if you look through box scores, they hit at a fairly decent rate. So definitely intrigued by that a lot.
Yeah. So Ryan, do you have 2 more plays then?
I do. I just have 2 straights. One I feel a little bad giving out, but I'll still do it because I support the current line that it's at. Now I got Christian Watson many days ago. This is like my second or third prop of the week, even though it was a Monday night prop. I got him over at 40.5. I would still take 45.5 on PointsBet. I would still take 46.5 on FanDuel. I mean, this guy's potential is just through the roof. We have a little bit more concern for him, more than your average play, just coming off that hamstring injury. But he came back last week. He played 52.8% of passing downs, which is not bad for a first game back. He got 4 targets, 2 receptions. Nothing to write home about, but one of the keys to this play in my mind is that game was on 9/28. That's 11 days ago. So he comes into this game without an injury designation. I feel pretty good that we see him run 70% of the routes, if not a fairly significantly higher number than that. We just got the news that Aaron Jones is out. So I think without question that makes Christian Watson the most talented player on this offense. And he's a deep ball threat too. So this just feels so achievable. And even if he gets 5-6 targets, I still think he has a really good shot at getting this. I never got like a legit confirmation from Matt LaFleur. It was a lot of I'm hoping for this and I'm hoping for that. And then Christian kind of said the same thing, like I'm hoping to feel 100% by that time. We never really got the go ahead. He's not going to have a snap count, kind of like we did with Cooper Kupp, unfortunately. Yeah. But this line is just so low. I think it's so achievable. And the Raiders actually, their pass defense has not been bad. They just held Herbert to like 160 something yards. 2 of the other quarterbacks they faced are really bad. It was Kenny Pickett, and I don't remember who they played in week 1, but it was Russell Wilson. I guess it isn't terrible,
yeah.
But I think their numbers,
they're fake good. You can say it. You can say it.
I don't fully buy into them, although the Herbert one is really, really impressive for sure. I'm not 100% sold. I think a 6'4", 208-pound guy with a 4.3, 40 can get 47 yards on this team, I guess is all.
Yeah, no, I like Watson a lot. I mean, he's no Wicks, but he's a very talented receiver.
Can't argue that.
And I want to give out the one play that I had here that was quote unquote my long shot, and it's a long shot, but it's 12-1. It's not anything crazy, But on Caesars, did you know that apparently Caesars you can build up credit? Like I didn't know that. Like the credit you get is kind of like DraftKings coins or whatever. So it's like kind of free bets. You can just use on anything. So I used like $13 of my quote unquote credit. So kind of like a free bet. I took Dontavian Wicks, 25 plus receiving yards, parlayed with Jordan Love, 25 plus rushing yards. They've both done this in 2 of the 4 games. And my thing is I'm so sold on Wicks that I might bet him personally at 7.5, even though I don't recommend it because it's a bad line. But you have to realize that this is going to be after the Phillies game, where who knows where my level of mental well-being will be. So without Aaron Jones those 2 weeks, can I just say this? Even last week with Watson out there, Wicks played 58% of the snaps. His ADOT on average is 11.5. So you're telling me for a guy that line was 4.5, that's now 7.5. You just need one catch. Like I mentioned before, he's so fast. The Raiders play so much man-to-man coverage that you just give me one bomb and you give Jordan Love one seam to run through. 25 and 25, 12-1. I'm not saying it's going to hit, but when it does hit, not if, when, we'll have some fun with it.
Love it. I really do like that. I like to see you taking your shots too, because I feel like a year ago Brian wouldn't have put that play out. So I like to see the personal growth here.
The more shows I have to come on to and bother people with it. It makes me it changes the man.
Yeah, it does. It definitely does, because I feel like a year ago Brian would never put that out. So I like that, dude. That fires me up a little bit. I'll go ahead and rattle off my last play. We could talk some baseball. I personally don't have any plays, but I hyped up enough about the Phillies to definitely talk some baseball. But last look for me is Max Crosby to record a sack on FanDuel. So this is minus 130. Even if he gets a half sack, this cashes. So I love this play.
What if he gets a third of a sack?
I'll cry, I guess. I don't know. They'd have to invent a rule for it to come true. So I won't count on it. But yeah, if he gets a half a sack, this does cash under FanDuel's rules. So minus 130 for this. I played this to win 1 unit, so I put 1.3 on this. He has a sack in 3 out of 4 games, totaling 4 sacks overall, which was 6 in the league prior to this week's action, which obviously has changed the rankings quite a bit. He's coming off a 2-sack game, so should be feeling pretty good. The Packers just got annihilated by Aiden Hutchinson, who I feel they're fairly similar in talent level and pass rush ability. I played Aiden Hutchinson in that game as well, even though up to that point the Packers had only allowed 3 sacks in 3 games. Then they allowed 5 in week 4. David Bakhtiari is done for the year, so their star left tackle is out. The rest of their line has kind of gotten healthy again, which they were without their left guard last week as well, I believe. I don't care. Max is so good. This man's, again, prior to this week's action, second in the league with 30 pressures, which 30 in 4 games is unbelievable. He's in the quarterback's face 8 times. We just need him to finish 1 time. There's better ways to say that. I'll work on that in the future.
I was gonna not say anything, but I'm glad you did.
Yeah,
we can all move on. We can all move on. We're adults. We'll
keep it rolling. Love's been really good with the clean pocket, and he's been really, really bad with pressure in his face. So I'm sure you could say that about a lot of quarterbacks, but a young quarterback like him, I know they're sitting in film study throughout the week and seeing the way he throws the ball when they have pressure in his face. I know Max Crosby and this Raiders defense is going to want to get a lot of pressure on him as much as they can. So I thought minus 130 to record even a half a sack for one of the premier pass rushers in the league was a really nice price.
I can see it now. A bull rush untouched on that little stint he does right at Jordan Love, ducks, runs it 25 yards. It's going to be crazy. Next play, I'm good. Next play, fake handoff. Crosby again, ducks, Wicks, 50-yard touchdown bomb. It's going to be the craziest first drive
what
of
a
NFL
combo.
history. What is Wicks' odds? I'm going to check on Pickett Sports for first touchdoum. It is... Let me just keep scrolling. I want to keep scrolling. Plus 6,000. Give me that all day. Actually, that's
60-1, baby.
Give me that all day. With the classic Who on Monday Night Football first touchdown score. I'll have to do some fun with that. But we can move on now. I think you're done. I think we're all done with the Monday Night Football game. Sure. Let's go to MLB. As you can see, me and Ryan's teams are still in there. I actually took this hat. I took this hat from my wall over there because when I was at the game last week, the wild card, I did what the kids say. I left my hat in the Uber, so I didn't have my Phillies hat ready, so I stole it from the wall. But I do appreciate that our team made it out of the wild card. It's more difficult than you would think. Some teams didn't even win a game. Actually, none of the teams that lost won a game, but they were mostly trash. So I do think we can move on there. The Phillies are plus 140 tonight. The Braves are minus 160. Same for the other game. I believe they're also the same odds. It's around that minus 160 to plus 140. Do you guys have any, initial thoughts on either game before we get into props or bets or anything we have for tonight?
I think if you're this is a must win for the Braves, because you don't want your fate relying in Elder in a bullpen game in the next one. So it'll be interesting to see what they do because what did Strider go, 6 or 7?
Yeah, he went 7
into the 7th, or did he finish the 7th?
So if Fried even struggles a little bit, they're gonna have to do something. They can't just ride it out tonight.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. Like if the Phillies can maybe get to him early, and just put some pressure on the Braves to either make a change or how they're going to manage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to before Ryan speaks and ruins the whole thing we have going here. I do want to say I mentioned this on the other show at noon. It does seem stupid because I know home field advantage, but with these two offenses, being on the road is kind of interesting because kind of like Nick says, if the Phillies can score early on the road, like imagine they hit a bomb or like get 2 runs in the first or second inning.
Like, to Kershaw.
That's what I'm saying. If you can just like kind of take the air out of the building before the other team even gets a chance to come out, it is interesting. Obviously, you want to be at home. That's not what I'm saying. You want a chance to walk off. You want the extra inning, whatever. But there is some advantages if you have the offense that can get going early. That who knows? Fried hasn't pitched in 2.5 weeks, Ryan? I think it's 2.5, 3 weeks.
Yeah. He didn't even sound confident about coming back either.
That interview was scary, right? You would think you'd lie. You think you'd lie, right? You think you'd put on a poker face. I mean, unless this is his poker face.
At all.
Yeah, he didn't look confident at all.
I don't know. I gotta say, now I have a Phillies shirt. I have a Phillies hat. Take it with a grain of salt. I think plus 140. Plus, you can boost it on DraftKings to closer to 200. I think it's a good price. This is must win for the best team in baseball. If they win, I will not be shocked. Don't get me wrong.
No, it's not a must win for us.
What's that?
It's not a must win for the Phillies.
I like that. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, okay.
Went over my head for a second, but
we all saw it go right over your head. It actually hit the wall behind you. It was so bad.
It bounced off and came right back up. I picked up on, but it's a must win game for the Braves, the second best team in the league. I understand why they're favored, but if you look at just how this Phillies team is hitting right now, they've hit lefties really well coming into this postseason. They have decent numbers off Fried, a lot better than the Braves have hit Wheeler. Wheeler's been such a stud in the postseason. I believe Wheeler has the MLB record for WHIP in the postseason. Now, I could really blow this, and I mean, he maybe he gets blown up tonight. You never really know with that offense, but I think my biggest question from game 1, I'm curious to see what you guys think. The Braves went all this way with this incredible offense. They never had to worry about scoring runs for a single moment of this season. They get game 1 of the playoffs, and then they switch up their lineup.
I was going to say the same. It's like it didn't even make sense. It didn't make sense, like righty lefties switching stuff, and
the lineup is something you've never seen before from this Braves.
Right?
Like it's
Riley 2, Olsen 3, Albies 4. It was so random. It came out of nowhere. Why in the world, when you get to your biggest game of the year, you walk away from what works? Not that that's a bad lineup. I mean, that's still a great lineup.
Yeah, I mean, you can't make a bad lineup with the Braves.
No, you can't.
Yeah. Albies is just such a perfect 2-hitter too.
He is,
like,
dude. I was.
If you for some reason later, if you need him to lay down a bunt or hit and run or just more of a contact, then bases loaded, Riley strikes out. So I mean, it's just tough, and it didn't make any sense. Like Alan, who's a huge Braves fan, first thing he sent to me is, "What are they doing with this lineup?"
Yeah.
So
I agree, and I know he's a Braves guy. Someone in the chat did say JT, Cassie, Harp, Turner all have great numbers against Fried too. That's big as well. I do think I get the Braves are the Braves, but not to put my Phillies fandom in front of things. I think this is more of a fair line around that plus 120, minus 140, minus 130-ish. I don't know if they're really that much favored because you want to talk about the pitching matchup. as much as Fried has been great in last few years, we don't even know how healthy he is. Like, it's just weird that the team with the number one ranked pitcher right now, like according to if you see the NFL, was it the NFL? The MLB came out with a list of like top 10 pitchers of the postseason remaining. Wheeler was one. I just think that if you get plus 140 for a team that's been playing like this under the best pitcher that you can find right now, it's a tough one to kind of argue against if you want to take it that way.
I agree. Of course, with that on, I don't know what value that holds, but I do agree.
Yeah.
Speaking of matchups here, I do have 3 RBI plays based on matchups.
Yes.
Castellanos is 8 for 13, hitting 615 off of Fried. JT is 14 out of 40, hitting 350 off of Fried. Then there is one Brave who I'm guessing this is the reason he's in the lineup is he hits Wheeler very well. And I think he's actually hitting 5th or 6th tonight. Sixth, I think. D'Arnaud is 8 for 21, 381 off Wheeler. And all these guys for even 1 RBI is great. Like D'Arnaud is like plus 240 for an RBI. Even a ground out or a sack fly. I mean, that's still pretty crazy odds. And then Castellanos and JT are more like plus 160 to plus 180 for one.
And honestly, Castellanos too he's hitting 6. He's moved up and down the lineup all throughout the year, but I'd feel confident taking a guy for an RBI when you know you have JT Realmuto, Harper, Alec Boehm, and Turner in front of them. I mean, they get on base.
Absolutely.
No, especially JT is looking a lot better as of late, which is nice to see. So I do think that's a good look. And also credit to Topper for the lineup. I mean, you have Pache hitting 8. I mean, he's been doing so well against lefties as well that I think this lineup is a fun one.
Yeah. If it means anything, and I think it means at least a little bit, especially since he's coming back a little shaken from this blister issue. But he faced this Phillies lineup last postseason, 3 1/3. He gave up 8 hits, 6 runs, 4 earned, 2 strikeouts. Man, I'd kill for that to happen again tonight. So we'll see. That's a 10.8 ERA in a 3-inning sample size of his postseason career. I'm sorry, that's not his entire postseason career. He's been in the postseason a lot in his career, but I don't know. I feel pretty good. Again, the Braves are a must-win game at home. Best lineup in baseball. If they win this game, I'm not surprised. However, I'm walking in fairly confident. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I like that. I do think there's a lot of fun to be had. It's kind of nice that this is the early game because I would hate to have double TV with this and then Monday Night Football. I like that you can fully sit down and watch it. Do you have any plays? You don't have any plays, Nick, for the other game, right?
Oh, yeah, I do.
Oh, fuck yeah,
nice.
You do. Yeah, you do.
Love it, Nick.
Before you get to the plays, just for like 30 seconds, what are your initial thoughts? Plus 135 for Zach Gallen and the Diamondbacks. Miller is minus 160 with the Dodgers. We talked about it earlier in the show. Will and Josh both like the Diamondbacks. I want to love the Diamondbacks because they had the pitching matchup here. It's kind of hypocritical because we just said Zach Wheeler pitching matchup as an underdog is crazy. But, and it's so tough, right? Like, I don't know. This is a tough one. I feel like I would want a little bit more juice on the Diamondbacks to back them rather than plus 130.
If you're the Dodgers headed into this season and you're expecting to be in the postseason, this is probably not who you thought was pitching game 2 for you when you got Walker Buehler, Kershaw, Julio.
I don't know if you saw Bueller's podcast. He did an interview where he talked about it, and even he seemed down on it because he was just kind of like, I don't know, they were asking him the pitching and if the Dodgers can pull it off, and even he seemed scared, and that's his own teammates right there.
I mean, Miller's super good, and I mean he's got like a lot of swagger for like a rookie. Like he's not really scared of anything, but Zach Gallen's good. Like he's gonna be a top 5 Cy Young guy this year for sure. This is another one though that Kershaw gave him 1 out, and they had to blow through the bullpen.
Yeah, 1 out is not ideal.
Not ideal at all.
If you guys are watching this, you can hire me to be an MLB analysis guy. I think I would be really good. I've been studying the game for a while.
We'll clip that exact
part. Not good. What's his ERA? 162. Not ideal. Like,
I mean, I don't know. You can't find analysis better than that. As far as
Miller is prone to walk, so I mean, you just hope that if you're the Dodgers that he like settles in quick because you can't afford another blow up scene in the first couple innings, or you're in big trouble then.
Yeah.
So
I'm kind of a Bobby Miller stan. I pretty comfortably back the Dodgers here. Again, really good team, must win kind of thing. You can't lose 2 at home or else you're damn near doomed. Bobby's, I mean, he's a stud, man. I do agree with what you said, Nick. Like if you said Bobby Miller is going to be the game 2 starter in the postseason, you'd probably giggle at that. But this kid's a stud, man. He's got the gas, and I would not be surprised if we see him throwing triple digits a decent amount of the time.
He's gonna be gassed up.
He's gonna be fucking throwing so hard. I love the people that
I just better hope they're strikes.
I always love the people that have the spin rate and the velocity numbers in the playoffs, and they always say things like, "Oh, like is he using tack?" And it's like, dude, that kid is fucking wired right now. He is on 2 Red Bulls, and he's wired out of his fucking mind. Yeah.
Exactly.
So I'm intrigued, Nick. What is your play for this game?
So I have 2 RBI plays. This guy has, I don't know why, but every time I take him for RBIs, he just comes through clutch. Alec Thomas for the Diamondbacks. He's 2 for 5, small sample size off of Miller. He's homered in his last 2 postseason games. Hitting the ball well right now. His odds for like 1 RBI were like plus 275, which is just crazy. Like he's during the regular season, he's normally like plus 160. So anytime you can get plus 275 for 1 RBI, I think 2 RBIs was like almost plus 1,000. And then Moreno, 2 for 3 off of Miller in his career with a homer and a double, I believe. He has been swinging a hot bat. Also crazy odds. He was like plus 250 or plus 265 for 1. So I'm gonna run with those, and even if they get 1, I'm happy.
Absolutely.
I think that's a good look. I do think there's a lot of fun offensive props to be had in some of these games. Where you mentioned with Fried, and you could talk about with Miller. Is those are 2 guys that, like you said, they could be really on or they could really be off. So it could be kind of fun either way, depending on which version you get and which way you're betting them, because very polarizing pitching.
Yeah, no doubt.
So is that all you guys have in terms of MLB? Do you guys want to move to pick up popular plays and then get the hell out of here so we can watch some baseball?
Yes, sir.
Sounds good.
Someone in the GoldBoys NFL chat did say they added Brian versus the books, and they mentioned taking Wicks for $100 for first touchdown. And I always like to promote responsible gambling, and that is the definition of responsible. So I do appreciate that. So I do appreciate that line of thinking as we go to our sponsor, Pickett Sports. The most popular,
only putting the 100 on it.
Yeah, only 100. What's that return? $5,000? That's it? I don't know. I would maybe figure that one out. Maybe call your bank.
Here.
Maybe call your bank, see what the max deposit is. But I haven't looked yet at what the popular plays were.
I got it pulled up.
First one is Christian Watson. No, I haven't pulled it up. I should have clarified. I like to come in here fresh. Just I like to have no idea what to talk about until I see it on the Pickett app. So it is nice. Ryan, you covered Christian Watson in great detail. Is there anything else you would like to bet? I mean, bet. The most bet is 40 plus receiving yards. Is there anything you want to add to that, or just kind of?
He's just so talented, man. I really think he's like a borderline top 10 talented receiver in the league. Obviously, how that translates, we'll see. There's still such a mystery in his career. Still has a lot to prove, but on paper, this dude is unbelievable. You're not going to find a guy this size running this fast with this ability very often. So I think it's definitely worth the risk when you get a line in the 40s for a talent like this, even though we don't have a solidified snap count or anything like that. I feel like it's worth the risk personally.
You have to imagine 10 days rest, right? 10 days rest. You have to imagine he comes in. A guy like Aaron Jones, we weren't sure if he was healthy. He's out. You have to imagine if Watson was in the same boat, he wouldn't play either. So you have to just bank on the fact he's going to be feeling a lot better.
Yeah, and the game was also, it was somewhat of a blowout as well against the Lions. So, I mean, at one point the score was, 27-3. So, how much do you want to rush your guy back from a hamstring injury when you're down 24 points at half? So I'm not really that concerned about 52%.
Yeah.
I feel like he would have played more than that if the game was close that week, much less 11 days later. Now, I feel pretty good. We see 70% of snaps and 6 targets, I feel like that's very reasonable. And I feel like that easily cashes 40 yards or 46 or whatever everybody ends up getting.
Yeah, honestly, I agree with that because what is it? Dontavian Wicks also had
Here
0
we go
targets.
again.
He had 0 targets last week, and I was watching it, and I was thinking, wow, they
He had
really are
one.
trying to.
He
Yeah,
He had,
had
they're
yeah,
trying
yeah,
to
I
get
mean, he had
more
one
involved this
one
week,
target, 0 catches. My first thought
Yeah.
was, okay, they're trying to save their
Yeah.
top guys for next week, which is really thoughtful for us bettors out there that
Prime
get
time
their
game, showcase him a
yeah.
little bit.
Yeah, showcase your rookie. You know how it is. So can't wait for that to happen. Second most bet player is Jordan Love. Is there? Oh, you know what? There was a boost on FanDuel, isn't there, for 200 plus
Yeah.
yards with him? So that is why his most bet prop is 1,200 picks for 200 plus passing yards. You have to imagine that is in large to the FanDuel boost. Which do you know what it is, Nick? Do you have it
Yeah.
up?
It's Adams 50 receiving, Jimmy G 200, and Love 200 passing. It was minus 110. Now it's plus 150.
Does that worry you as a guy with a ladder on Adams that maybe there is a wizard out there that is going to take his hamstring away from you or something like
You
that?
can have 10 catches for 49 yards, and I'll be fine. So
That's fair. That's why
right. That's right.
that's why you outsmart the books there, Nick, and we appreciate you
Yeah.
doing
Right.
that.
Love that.
Last one. Do either of you guys want to take this? I want to let Nick take this one. It is
I want
Devontae Adams. The most bet is actually, if you can you guess it? What the most bet thing is?
touchdown.
Yeah, it was actually 0.5 home runs. It was over for that. But yeah, people like the touchdown bets. I do think there is a boost on 365 for plus 175 for a
Yeah.
touchdown. So a lot of people are riding on his touchdown bet. Do you have any thoughts on that? Because his second most bet thing is his reception, which you already kind of covered.
I mean, if he's healthy, I think he scores. Like if he plays the whole game, he scores. I don't really have a doubt in that. But yeah, the only thing that scares me with him is like for some reason he had deemed early or something, has to leave the game. Other than that, I'm pretty confident in Adams tonight.
Yeah, someone in the chat said 200 yards for Love won't be easy, if I'm being honest. And Ryan something 1616, which is a stupid fucking name. He said it may not be going to see a lot of pressure. Yeah, which is why he might be better off taking the 200 plus rushing yards for Love, but that's teach their own there. I do think it's interesting that people are laddering his touchdowns too on Pickett. The third most bet pick is just over 1.5 touchdowns. And the best odds is plus 700, which is just so gross. When
Is
you're
that for
talking about
Wick?
no, Wicks is actually if I check on Pickett, Wick for 2 touchdowns is plus 135.
Oh.
Yeah, he got
I'm sure
he
it
got,
is.
he got nerfed down since the show. People weren't even realizing it, but yeah, I do think
I thought he was out today.
Here.
I do
A lot of
think that
misinformation.
if you do have Adams touchdown on your card today or in your your sports betting apps or you have action on it, I think you're safe to say that you're going to see one target in the end zone, right? Like even if it doesn't work out, it's a fade, doesn't go its way, doesn't score. You should feel like if he plays the whole game, they're going to at least try to force him for one target, right? Like I mean, this is a game that he circles.
Yep.
Oh yeah. He's been waiting for this for a long time. So I'm 100% on board. Definitely understand all the Devontae Love. I mean, even if Jair plays, there's not really any corners that can do anything against.
Did
Devontae.
you see Porter's pick yesterday with that terrible fade to OBJ? That's kind of what I'm thinking might happen today with Devontae Adams.
I missed that one.
It was
That was
Lamar
terrible.
Lamar Jackson, the Ravens decided that they're a throwing team in the red zone now, and they did a fade to Odell Beckham, who hasn't jumped in like 3 years. So it was it was a bad play.
Poor Odell catching strays, man.
Yeah, but I think we can end the show and we can go watch some baseball. So just do a recap.
Sure.
For baseball, the only thing I looked into was Wheeler's out. Didn't end up playing it, but if you have a boost, not a bad look. For the game, I did bet Jordan Love over 8.5 longest rush attempt and over 15.5 rushing yards overall. And then I took 12-1 Jordan Love 25 plus rushing yards and Wicks 25 plus receiving yards. If you can play that straight, if you want, I might end up taking the 17.5 the 7.5 as a fun play, but definitely a very hit or miss play.
Go ahead, Nick.
Don't jump all at once, guys.
For baseball, I've got Castellanos, JT Realmuto, Travis d'Arnaud in the first game for RBIs, And then in the late game, Moreno and Alec Thomas from the Diamondbacks for RBIs. For the football game tonight, I have Devontae Adams receiving a reception ladder starting at 6.5 over 6.5 on Barstool was minus 105, and then taking that up to 10 receptions on FanDuel. And then my long shot was Reed on the Packers under 2.5 receptions, and then 50 or 60 over 50 or 60 receiving yards.
Love it.
Awesome.
Ryan, props, bring us home.
Yes, sir. I went Christian Watson over receiving yards. The number you'll get now is a little in question. I think there's a 46.5 on FanDuel, which I'm all for. Really like Watson tonight. I took Max Crosby to record sack at minus 130 on FanDuel. And then I laddered Jacoby Myers receptions. I believe the best 4.5 out there is Barstool, just like Devontae Adams. Earlier it was plus 100 in a few spots. It's now minus 105 last I checked on Barstool. And then I took 6, 7, 8, and 9, just kind of tiny sprinkles on all of the above. So just the 3 guys for me tonight. I don't have a baseball play, but I do have a baseball team about to play. So let's get out of here. We appreciate you guys watching. As always, we appreciate Pickett Sports as well as Sleeper Picks for sponsoring the show, and we will see you guys next week.